afternoon, everybody. This is Ed Franklin with the Ed Franklin No Limits podcast. And it has been quite a while since I've done a podcast. And a lot of you probably just thought I gave up. That was definitely not the case. The last one I did was on my iPhone because I was having some computer problems that I'll talk about in a second. But I wanted to remind you, you can always get a hold of me at edfranklin.nolimits@gmail.com. If you have a guest that'd like to be on, if you'd like to be a guest on my podcast, or if you have a topic, a particular topic you want me to talk about, I'm happy to talk about just about anything. So gosh, welcome back. Thank you for being patient. If you were, sometimes people ask me, thanks for your patience. And I said, oh, I don't have any of that, but whatever. So I had this computer glitch when we moved over to this new place. My computer started shutting off just randomly, and I thought it was a power issue. I thought it was a lot of different things. So I contacted a person that I know that works on computers, and they had to, and this was before my birthday. By the way, thank you for all the birthday wishes. I know it was 2 months ago, and I thanked you on Facebook and that, but I just want to personally thank you. You made my day. We were in Las Vegas during the week of my birthday, and it was a blast. We had a really good time. And I might have talked about that already in my last podcast. Can't remember now because it's been so long. But I took my computer to this person that I know, and they weren't super quick at diagnosing what the problem was, and eventually told me I just needed to buy a new computer. And he gave me a recommendation of a computer to buy that would equal the one I have. Now, this is a very expensive computer. And I did that. I bought that for a reason because I didn't want it breaking. And here 2 years after, about a day after the warranty runs out, it decides not to work anymore. So kind of typical. But after talking to a lot of people and going here and there and looking around, I finally found a guy in Poway, actually, named Joey at ProTech Computer Repair. He is down at the west end of Poway Road, kind of over by that North Park Produce. And let me tell you, I got a recommendation from John Riley, and John gave this guy kudos. And let me tell you, this guy kicks ass. So it took about a week and a half there. He had to get some parts and ended up with a better computer than I had before. Different case, a lot of different things. And, you know, most of you would just say, well, you could have just bought a new computer. This is an expensive computer. I don't have the money to buy a new computer like this one. And I liked my computer and everything was fine. Just one piece had to be replaced, which caused a couple other things to be replaced. So anyway, it was quite frustrating. And I didn't know if I was going to get back to doing a normal podcast, but I would have figured out a way because I like doing these. It's fun. It's leading me to some other, opportunities in life. I keep bumping the microphone because I'm kind of still getting kind of settled in here. So, man, I wanted to talk about how frustrating that the last couple of months have been, just for a lot of different reasons, and but we're gonna get back to that on another podcast. What I kind of wanted to talk about is when I'm trying to create a podcast, I'll read books and I'm listening to motivational things on when I'm working out and this and that, and I'm texting myself all the time. I'll text myself words and sentences or phrases that I think are important to all of us. And I always want to remind all of you that I'm speaking to you, obviously, and I want you to learn from what I'm going through. But it helps me kind of readjust my goals and, and what I'm going to do. And a lot of things have changed. And I want to back up to COVID for a minute because I keep saying this to people and it's really kind of a cop out. One of my pillars to this podcast is excuses, and I fucking make excuses all the time. And it irritates me because I allow myself to do it. And whether it's legitimate excuse or not, like not having a computer, I could have done all those podcasts on my iPhone, but it's very hard to edit. It's very hard to do a lot of things with the iPhone. And again, talking to John Riley, we came up with he does some different kind of marketing that I'm going to start doing, which is breaking these podcasts into little chunks. And one of the things I say about COVID all the time is COVID was hard on me. I'll tell people, I was out of work for a long time. I was in and out of jobs and things like that. I just could not find my stroke. And I do have a new job. I've been with him about 3 months. It's going fantastic. So I'm super happy about that. It's very good culture, very good managers, and the people there are all pretty good. But the problem is COVID was an incredible opportunity to do a lot of things. And I did take advantage of a lot of it. I learned a lot about technology. I learned a lot about programs and, editing software and all kinds of doodly doing, videos, marketing videos and things like that. So I did learn a lot. I read a lot. I read a lot of leadership, marketing, different things I could. But I was also, it was a really good opportunity to start something new. And I kind of did, and then I didn't. And I look back and I was really got complacent. And I know a lot of you are complacent too. And I just know you are. You want to do something, but you're not taking action on that. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Because I know all of you must have a dream. You must have something. You must have a vision of what you want your life to look like, whether it's being thinner or not drinking or not smoking or having your own business or making more money or living in a place that you think you could never live or a lot of things like that. And we sit there and we dream about it, but we don't dream enough. We don't dream big enough a lot of times, I don't think. And if you have a vision, which I know 99% of you do, are you able to think about that vision and get it very clear on exactly what you want? That's one of the toughest things about manifesting, the life you want or making those changes to get to that life you want. It's very difficult to get it in your mind exactly how you want it. I mean, if you want a new car, you should go out and look at that car a lot and smell that car and sit in that car and find the color you want, do all those things and get pictures of it and put it up on your mirror, whatever you got to do. This is how, when I'm reading about manifesting and stuff, this is how a lot of these people that have used this to their advantage have done those things. And I've done that in the past. I've said, look, I want to be here. I want to make this much money. I want to do that. And I got complacent. And I'm telling you that it wasn't COVID. It was me. It was my friggin' excuses that I'm not where I should be right now. Yes, have stuff happened? Absolutely. Traumas happened, and we've had to deal with some pretty major things, and we're going to talk a little bit about that too, because I know that either you're having, or you're going to have some trauma in your life, and you're going to need to be expecting that to come. Now, understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying you should manifest that trauma. You should not be thinking of what that trauma is going to be. But when it does come, it could be another COVID thing. We're hearing stuff on the news now that they might be shutting down schools again, things like that. And I don't know if it's all bullshit or if it's just, well, the first thing you need to do is stop listening to the news and stop reading, Facebook. I'm on there all the time and I see these sentences and I see this stuff and it's irritating to me. And I'm telling you not to do what I do all the time. But I'm on Facebook more for marketing and things for my job, for this podcast, and for some future stuff that I have coming along. I'm looking down at some notes. I don't usually take notes, but I took some this time because I told you I would text myself some things. So the first thing is you got to really get a clear vision. And, there's three things you really need to do this. And I've said this before, and I'm going to bang it into your head again. You need a pen, a piece of paper, and a mirror. You need to be writing down what you want, writing down as specific as details as you can come up with. If it's that car you want, pick a picture of a window sticker, do something so you know exactly what you want. And two things are going to happen. Either your mind's going to start taking you to that place where you can get that thing, or you're going to decide that's not what you want. Maybe it's something else. And it doesn't have to be monetary. It can be, being closer to your kids, or like I said, a lot of different things, being in a better relationship, figuring out how to get that relationship more squared away and being with that partner. Maybe it's a new partner, maybe it's your existing partner. You just want to get back to where you were when you met or something, whatever. There's 100,000 million different things. And I've said this before, that we might want the same car, but we probably wouldn't want the same color or the same interior and things like that. You can have anything you want, but it's going to take some work. So speaking of that, a lot of times I hear these motivational speakers talking about getting up earlier. And I always thought it was kind of silly because, if you only have so many hours in a day, if you're using those hours to your benefit, if you're getting up at 9 and going to bed at 2 a.m, it kind of is the same thing, right? Versus getting up at 4 a.m. I don't think it is. For the last 3 weeks, the first week I was getting up at 5 a.m. and going to the gym. So I was there by 6 o'clock, right? The last 2 weeks I've been getting up at 4 a.m. and getting there at 5 o'clock when the door opens. So I'm there when the guy's unlocking the door, me and about 15 other people, usually the same people. So a couple things it does. First of all, you're with the serious gym crowd, right? I mean, these people just don't get up arbitrarily and go to the gym at 5 o'clock. So these guys are the regulars. They're the ones coming in every week. I see them. I see their routine. I see what they're doing, and they're serious and they're in good shape. And they look great and they're doing all these things. And there's some people that are, just starting, but they're getting up at 4 o'clock and getting to the gym at 5. It's a game changer. Let me tell you, my daughter mentioned to me that she does that. And my oldest daughter, Samantha, and I started doing it. And I'm telling you, by the time I get back from the gym, get a shower, start taking the kids to school and doing those things, I feel so accomplished because I've already done something that's a big deal for me, right? That's my time to kind of think about stuff, to manifest things, to meditate, to do all those things while I'm lifting weights. I consider it. I'm telling you, it's a game changer in life. Do I get tired at night? I do, but I just go to bed earlier. And a lot of times that 8 o'clock at night till 11 o'clock at night was usually watching something on TV or whatever. We don't really watch TV. We'll have it on for like background stuff, but it wasn't really productive time. It wasn't that me and Kit were chatting or talking about anything. We were kind of either on our phones or watching TV. So I've replaced that couple of hours in the evening with going to the gym, and it's been a game changer. I would like to sit here and tell you that I'll be getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning forever. I mean, to go to the gym. Now, I don't do it 7 days a week, although funny enough, or oddly enough, I did go to the gym before church a couple of weeks ago and it felt fantastic. I had to be there at 6. That's when they open. And I worked out, came home, took a shower, went to church, and that was a good day. I mean, doing those little things. And this is things you're going to have to do. If you want to get that vision, if you get that vision in your head, these are those little things you're going to have to do, these changes you're going to have to make. Now, if you've got a perfect life and you don't want anything to change and you got tons of money and you're living in the exact place you want, hey, congratulations. You're 0.1% of the entire world. You've got it made. Keep it up. I know I know the people that listen to this a lot. And I know that they have other things on their mind, right? They've got, like I said, they're in the middle of trauma. It could happen to them or around them. They're not in the relationship they want to be. They're not in the shape they want to be. They're not eating the way they should or want to, things like that. But you can change all those things. Once you start changing them, I guarantee your life will start turning around. You'll start finding opportunities. You'll start running into opportunities that are going to be really good for you. I was reading a book a while back by a man named, slipped my mind, Matthew Kelly. He writes a lot of books about Catholicism, and they're not all religious, right? He just talks about the mass and talks about other things. And I've mentioned him before. And he said something once that I'm going to say to you after I get a drink here. He thought the biggest crime in the Catholic Church is that we're letting the media tell us who we are. The media is telling us who we are as Catholics, right? We're missing the point of the mass. We're missing the point of communion. We're missing a point of a lot of things because we're letting the media tell us that all the priests in the world are bad. It's not true. Are there some? Of course. There's some bad police officers too, and a lot of different things. Look at our political systems in the worst shape I've ever seen it in my entire life. I don't care what side you're on a bad side, because there's no good side to politics right now. I don't know how the hell we're going to manage our way out of this, but I'm confident we will. I'm seeing a lot of positive things and a lot more negative too, but I think we're going to get out of that. So back to that point, I think you're letting the media and rich people watching these TikToks and these influencers tell you what your life is. And usually they're telling you can't do it because we've already done it and you're not good enough. And that's horseshit. You are good enough to do it. Listen, when they started out, they were doing nothing either. They didn't have money when they started. A lot of these guys, there's a lot of good people to listen to out there. I think Ed Mylett or Milet or whatever his name is, really good guy to listen to. Very encouraging, very motivating. There's a lot of good people out there to listen to, and there's a lot of uh, uh, it's really easy to access these things. So I'd encourage you, firstly, I'll suddenly tell you this. I was on TV. We're going to watch a movie this weekend or something. I don't know. I just had a couple of some downtime, and I said, well, I'm going to watch a movie, something I haven't seen in a long time. We watched the movie Vision Quest, which is an amazing movie. It's about wrestling, but it's really not. It's about this kid who has a vision, right? Vision Quest, and he does everything he can to try to get and accomplish this vision. And during that time, he's a teenager and he's running into teenager things, right? The way people view him. He thinks he falls in love with a girl, and there's all these it's a cute movie, and I've watched it 100 times. And anytime I need to be motivated, I watch Vision Quest or Top Gun with the Maverick movie. Sorry about that. Frog in my throat. And but as I'm looking through movies, I'm looking through Amazon and Prime, and I'm looking through Netflix, I'm looking through Hulu, I'm looking through Tubi. I'm looking through all this stuff I pay for that I don't even use. And I'm going, wow, there's so many things to watch. I mean, we're inundated with these short stories and these what do they call them? These binge watching things we do. And I'm like, God, for God's sakes, this is why, we're at America is all that people are doing is watching TV. I mean, I thought we watched a lot of TV back in the old days, and I never did. I was never a big sitting down and watching TV guy. But there's so much to watch. And I hear people talking about this on Facebook. And when I'm out doing, when I'm out working, they're talking about this show that they binge watch and this one they spend so much time in front of the TV. They don't have time to do all these things we were just talking about, like get that vision together. Or go to the gym or do a lot of things that they should be doing that would create much more positive things in their life, but they're sitting watching TV. I mean, they must be watching it if they're making so many of them. I mean, Apple's got their own network, and God, everybody's got their own network, and there's just thousands and thousands and thousands of things to watch on TV. When you look at the Disney Channel, when I look on there for Piper to get something for her to watch, there's hundreds of movies. Too much. There's too much. It's only too much if you watch it all the time. That's what I'm telling you. If you want to have this, if you want to get a vision, if you want to change your life, you want to make things better, don't watch TV. It's not going to do anything for you. Now, conversely, there are some good things you can watch. There's documentaries. I watched one on Arnold. I talked about that on my last podcast. So there are positive things to watch, but this is the media again telling you, you have to be like us and do things this way. I get really irritated with the school system, and I'm right in the middle of it again with Carson, because of the things they get involved with. I was a big advocate of not even having sports in high school. To me, it's, if you got 150, 200 people playing sports, 200 kids, and there's 4,000 people in that school, you're spending a lot of times on 200 and 300 people at school. There's obviously they could have intramural sports, just like Pop Warner or, club sports and things like that. One of our daughters played club soccer. If they want to be good and they're going to get as good. And a lot of these, like the high school players, the high school baseball players, I have a friend that their son plays all year. He only plays high school for a couple months. So I think that our education system gets too involved with these other things that are outside things. They're really just getting paid to be educators. We have them getting involved in Pride Week and this group and that group and that group and this group. And you know what? I understand the kids identify as whoever they identify with, but that's not the school system's responsibility to give them a platform to speak or do whatever it is. As far as I'm concerned, it's not what it is. You want to go to a college and pay for a college and go to a liberal college or a conservative college or a religious college. You want to do that? That's up to you. That's your money. They can have whatever platform they want. But when it comes to public schools, should not be doing that. They should be shortening the days, getting rid of that stuff, concentrating on education, on basic education, things that they can learn when they get out. I kind of went on a political rant there for a second, but it wasn't, because what it is it's just distractions. It's so many distractions we have out there. You've got to get rid of these distractions if you want to have any success in your life. You got to stop. If you want to get in shape, you got to start eating right, go to the gym, got to get your body moving. Sitting on that couch watching, Breaking Bad for 17, seasons or whatever, it's not going to help you at all. It's an escape, I guess. It's just as bad as drinking or smoking weed or whatever. But if you really want to get serious about stuff, you need to, I'm telling you, you should try to get up at 4 or 5 in the morning and go to the gym. It'll change your life. It's doing it for me. And I know a lot of you are going, you're out of your mind. That's not going to happen. Kit tells me that all the time. Fine. But I'm telling you, it's a game changer and it's really worth going. What's happening in this now, we're getting closer to another election year. The mudslinging is already starting. We have one candidate that's, so as far as I'm concerned, it's senior abuse, what they're doing to this guy. And we have another candidate that's getting, indictments left and right. Neither one of these people are good candidates to be the president of our United States. The United States should be and was the greatest country in the world. I'm not sure that we can hold that banner anymore. The freedom is awesome, but we take it too far. We're taking it to where people can just feel like they can do whatever they want. That's not what freedom is. But in a lot of cases, because we're getting told by the media that the government's doing this to us and this guy's doing that to us and this guy's doing that to us, we're succumbing. We're just being mediocre, right? We're just succumbing to mediocrity. And when you do that, you're not going forward in any way or not. If you're going to stay where you're at and you're not breaking paradigms in your life and you're not, getting out there and trying to change the things that you want to change, because I know you guys have things you want to change. You can't sit there and tell me, no, Ed, I'm fine. You're not fine. Okay. And I don't care if you're CEO or the janitor. You've got either some trauma or you got some things weighing down on you that you could really overcome if you just concentrate on it. I was thinking the other day, I listened to, I want to do public speaking, and I'm going to, one fucking way or another, I'm going to get in and be a public speaker. And I thought a lot of these guys, when people ask me what my platform is and I tell them, they kind of look at me funny. They said, look, I'm not there to entertain somebody. I'm not there to be Tony Robbins and walk on coals and run up and down, the hallways and things like that, because I'm not an entertainer, right? I don't want to entertain you. I want to help change you. There's two kinds of pain in life, one that hurts you and one that changes you. I want to be that pain that helps change you. I want you to look at your life and get serious with what's going on. I want you to know that you can do anything you want. And when I said a pen, a paper, and a mirror, I want you to stand in front of the mirror, and I don't care what it takes to convince yourself that you love you. And you need to really start telling yourself that more often. Do not look at the flaws. Look at the good things in your life. I told you before, and you should know this, you have value to society. The odds of winning that, we just had a lottery that was what, $1 billion, $1.5 billion. And the odds of winning that are like 1 in 300 million. The odds of you being born were 1 in 400 trillion. You've already hit the lottery to be on this earth. And I've said this before too. There's a guy named Ernie Johnson who works on TNT, works with Shaq and Kenny and Charles Barkley on this basketball show. They've been doing it for like 30 years. He recently lost a son, I'd say in the last few years, that was a special needs child, and he ended up passing away. And he had this great story he told about this kid and about how it enriched his life so much and his wife's life and the other family members. And he said something that I thought was a really good way to put things. When you say, like today, I have to go get Piper after school. Instead of saying I have to go get Piper after school, I should say I get to go get Piper after school. I'm not going to be able to do this forever. And I get to go see my granddaughter and find out how her day was and drive home. And we need to be more grateful. And listen, I'm one that's not, I go shit sideways on a regular basis because I just get so frustrated. And part of it's me, part of it's society. It's just, I get frustrated and I go shit sideways. But if you think about that, you have to raise your kid, you have to take them to softball, you have to do this, you have to do that. What if you replace that have to with get to? And Ernie Johnson talked about this, and he said, he got to raise this child. He got to be part of his life for however many years he lived. And I think he lived into his 20s, early 20s, maybe, not expecting to live into their early 20s, for him to live in his early 20s. So when you start thinking about that, and I say to you, you have a value to society, and you have a value to people you help or you donate things to. Don't think that you have to give things to charity. What if you get to give things to charity? What if you get to give those old clothes or the clothes you don't wear or the computers, and you get to give them to somebody? If you have used them up and they could benefit somebody else, and you get to give them to those people, just change that word. Don't say I have to, say I get to. It changes your whole perspective on that sentence. And I'm telling you, if you keep telling yourself that enough, I heard an interesting statistic a while back, and this is like one of these, it's almost like a trivia question. If you said, what is the average income of the people in the world? And if I told you that if you made $31,000 a year, just $31,000 a year, $15 an hour, basically, that you were in the top 1 percentile of the entire world in making money. 1%. All the billions of people over Earth, and you make $31,000. I'll tell you, most of you guys couldn't live on. You have kids living at home making $31,000. They're in the top 1 percentile of the world. Now, in the United States, to be in the top 1%, you probably have to make 400 grand, 500 grand. But don't think of it that way. You could get there if you wanted to. If you're making more than $31,000 an hour, $31,000 a year, you're in the top 1 percentile of earners. So when I tell you that you need to get up in that mirror and tell yourself that you love you, that you should get up and look for those good things in your life, you get to wake up in a bed, and you get to have a mirror, and you get to have a restroom inside, and you get to have running water, and you get to have breakfast. See, when you start saying it that way, it changes your perspective a little bit. It's changing my perspective as I'm saying it to you. It's making me think about what I'm not appreciative of. We have almost 2 brand new cars. I mean, they're not brand new, but they're nice cars. We live in a nice house. We live in a nice area. Kid's going to stop by the grocery store today and buy food. We have that ability to do that. I was just complaining about this computer. This computer is in the $4,000 range, and I was able to pay for that. And I'm sitting here broadcasting. I could broadcast all over the world with this thing. So I get to do a podcast for you, and I get to speak with you, and you get to listen to me. Now, that part you may not want, but understand that we have a lot to be grateful for. And that's probably the first place your life should start, is what you're grateful for. So you've already hit the lottery, 1 in 400 trillion that you're even born, right? You guys have friends. Most of you have family. A lot of you have kids. If you don't have kids yet, you probably will have kids. You'll probably have a family. I get to celebrate something awesome this weekend. On Saturday, one of my daughters is getting married. She's marrying a good guy. We're going to have a good time. We'll be dancing. And it was funny because my daughter wants me to come up and give just a short speech, and her future husband's kidding with me saying, "Oh, we want to see you cry, Ed." And I'm like, I'm going to cry, whether it's during the speech or during the dance or whatever. But it's because I get to do that, right? I get to be part of this celebration. These 2 kids that have worked their ass off, and they got nice careers, and they got 2 kids, and they're having a good life, and everything's out in front of them right now, and they're just going to go out and get it. And it's really nice to see that we raised, a good kid that's going to marry this good kid, and they're going to have this. Assuming they're going to have a very successful marriage. I don't see why they wouldn't. They've had a successful relationship up until now. So kind of goes back to that gratitude. Once you start getting that gratitude, once you get that vision, once you start taking those little baby steps towards that vision, it's going to change your life. And I got to say, you just got to start. You just got to start. One stupid little thing. Just get a pad of paper out with a pen, draw a line down the middle, put pros on one side, cons on the other. Tell me what you don't like about your life. Tell me how you want your life to change. And your mind will bring you to be successful. If you ask yourself, what if enough, your mind physiologically will answer you. What if I had more money? What if I had more time? What if I was in better shape? What if? Keep asking yourself that. Change your sentence. I get to instead of I have to. You know, here's a good one. You'd say, oh, I have to go to the doctor. I'm bummed. I have to go to the dentist. You get to go to the dentist. A lot of people can't. Look at pictures of people in around the world and look at their teeth, if they even have any. You get to go to the doctor and get something, get tests that tell you, you got to cut back on sugars. That's the benefit. You understand that's a great thing of life. You get to travel. You get to do all these things. We need to start getting more gratitude. You get to live in the United States. Is it fucked up right now? Yes, it is. I'm irritated about it. But you could live in Ukraine right now where you don't know if a bomb's going to drop on your house. So you get to live here. You get to vote. You get to do all these things. This is where we really got to start getting more gratitude about life. And I'm more guilty of this than anybody. I feel like sometimes I'm owed some stuff. You're really not owed anything. You can go out and work for it. I can tell you during COVID, something I was talking about, and this is kind of on a little negative side. Another drink here. There's only water, by the way. If it was vodka, I'd be here a little longer. It's not, it's just water. Something I learned through COVID, and I was starting to kind of learn it before. I'm real disappointed in a lot of people, a lot of my people that I called my friends. We moved out of the area we were in, but we didn't move very far. We're a few miles away from where we were at before. I'm irritated at people that I dropped everything for when they needed something, and they don't reciprocate at all. I don't hear from them. I don't, people I grew up with, I don't hear from people, unless I reach out to them. And you know what? It gets old, and I hate to be a little selfish ass, but it gets old when people don't, reach back to you. I was involved in 2 nonprofit organizations that I had a very successful run during those things. And then as soon as I was not doing that, people just forgot about me. And here's kind of a shitty thing to say. I'm glad that they're not doing as good as they were, because maybe they appreciate what I did, but they probably don't. They probably don't care. And so that kind of really irritates me that I learned that through COVID. And it wasn't because, we still have phones. If you were worried about getting germs on somebody, you could call somebody, or we have texting, we have email, we have all these other things. Out of COVID, I've gained a couple new friends, and I spend time with them on a regular basis as much as we can, because we're both working, or all working. It's not just one person. And I always look forward to sitting down with them, because we can be really honest with each other about guy stuff or whatever, and it's no judgment. We have very different political views and really don't talk about politics. And there's 2 people I'm talking about, and I won't embarrass them, but that was shitty about people. I think that a lot of people, and my Facebook list has changed. I think that it kind of goes back to me not thinking big enough. I think those people just are complacent. They just want to stay where they're at. And I don't. It doesn't matter if I'm 61. I still have ambition. I still have things I want to do. You think about this. David Goggins wrote a book called Can't Hurt Me. And if you don't know who David Goggins is, he's kind of touted as the strongest, toughest man in America. And he, in the book, Can't Hurt Me, is an amazing book. And you could look him up online and follow him on Facebook and Instagram and all these places. And he's just this really rough guy, but he tells you the truth. Like, you've never been told the truth like this guy tells you. And he's right. He'll say things like you're being a wuss because you don't get up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. and do those things. But he always can back it up. And he has this great little piece you can find on YouTube or something. And they're asking him why he's so driven. And he says, it doesn't matter if you believe in God or what you believe in. He goes, but at some point he feels like he's going to be getting judged, right, by a higher power. And he says he has this vision of sitting down with God. We'll call him God. If I call him God, but some people have their own ideas about things. And he says he has a list of, it says David Goggins, and it's this list of things, motivational speaker, author, runner, does all these things, motivational guy, military guy, all these things. And he doesn't want, he looks up and he goes, well, it says David Goggins, which that's my name, but all those things on the list, I didn't do those yet. And Goggins says to him, I know, you were supposed to. I think that we have a responsibility to everybody around us. We've lost that over the last, I'd say 15 years, 20 years. We've really segregated ourselves in America, and it should have been a complete opposite. We should be all getting along. It shouldn't be worse now. It should be better. But I'm telling you what happens, and it irritates me because the people that I'm talking about, and I'm not going to mention names, I thought they had better characters than that. I thought they had a higher character content. And I was contacting them here and there. And, just like I normally do, I will just sit at my computer sometimes and email 25 people that I haven't seen in a while. And I might get 2 responses, and it's sad. I know so many people. I helped so many people. They helped me with certain things, but it kind of pisses me off, to be honest with you. And I know it sounds kind of selfish and, but it's just what it is. I'm just telling you, I learned that, and it seemed like it started more with COVID. And then once we left Poway, shit, we don't get contacted by anybody that we hung out with in Poway. No one from church, no one from anywhere. No one ever calls us up and just asks a question. I have one person that does, and that they actually moved to New York, and he'll contact me on a regular basis. But other than that, I really don't get any, we have no conversation. I'll get people that ask me favors. They'll ask me if I know somebody, and I give them, and then I never get a thank you or anything back. So I don't know. I know it's kind of a shitty thing to talk about, and I don't think about it that often because I have things I want to do, and they're not going to help me move forward anyway because they have their whatever perceived notion about me. Look, I know that people think if I got up and spoke, I'd be bad at it, and maybe I would, but I've done it before and got good reviews, if you want to call it that. I have a point. I'm on the spot with what I want to talk to people about. And I'm telling you, it's every person in the world. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care if you're an entertainer or whatever. We see it constantly with these entertainers. They'll come back and say, I was in a bad way. I had this trauma happen when they get old, right? And then and all these old artists now, musical artists especially, are coming back, and now they have their own podcast and they're telling stories about when they were on the road and all the problems they had. Everybody's got those problems now too. And I'm trying to say, hey, we need to all sit down and stop for a second and take a look in the mirror and figure out what's bothering us and figure out how to fix it. It is fixable. A lot. It's communication. It's meditation. It's getting in shape. It's doing all these things. Half the people that have health problems wouldn't have the health problems if they would have stayed, moving. If they just would have kept their bodies moving. Not to go to the gym and lift weights. You could walk or eat better. Go to a fucking In-N-Out Burger and look at the line at lunch. I love In-N-Out Burger. My kids work there. It's not good for you. There's McDonald's or Taco Bell or all this shit. It's this morning, I had to drop off some things to a customer, and it was near where I grew up. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to stay on this road because I know where I was at. It was going to take me right to where I grew up. In fact, I went by my old elementary school. And the area hasn't changed that much. And I kind of needed to go through this, and I'm going through this thing again. I'm constantly trying to reinvent myself and, change where I'm at in life. I want to change. There's some things I want to change, and it's all good, positive things. And I was just kind of wanted to go back to see where I came from, it's one of those, and I've come so far. I mean, God, I shouldn't even be where I'm at in life, right? I shouldn't even have the knowledge I have. But I do read, and I do, watch things and listen and learn and seek out answers on things. So, and you have this ability to do that too. You're not stuck at 46 or 26 or 32. You can learn and keep learning and be successful as you get older. I don't want to necessarily do what I did before. I want something new. And it's not because that didn't serve me well at the time. It's just because I've grown. I have a different attitude towards things. I look at things much differently now. So it was nice to kind of drive. And like I said, it hasn't changed much. It's still pretty rough where I was at. And, I went by my elementary school, and here they have this like 15-foot fence all the way around the elementary school, which we never had when we were kids. And I saw where my friends lived. I didn't even go to where I lived because I didn't want to turn down that street. I wasn't scared or anything. I just like, you know what, I've had enough. I've seen what came down here to see. And, just like that new car, I want to go sit in that new car and smell that new car. And, maybe I want something different. So anyway, I'll stop ranting, and I'm going to have more podcasts, and they're going to be more regular, and I'll come up with content. I just really wanted to get back on here and talk to you guys and let you know that, man, your life doesn't have to be the way it is right now. And I don't care what's going on around you, or with the government, or gas prices, or any of that shit. You can make the changes, right? You got to understand that you can make those changes. You have to believe in yourself. Get a pen, get a pad of paper, look in the mirror. Something I used to do, I used to write messages on the mirror with on whiteboard, those pens you use on a whiteboard, the grease markers or whatever there. And I would write messages on the mirror. Do that. So the first thing you see in the morning, it's something positive, right? Look at my Facebook posts. Always post something positive. And I've said this before, I get people all the time say, man, Ed, I really needed that today. Thank you for doing that. So if I'm looking down my list here, clear vision, get that clear vision of what you want. Stop letting the media tell you who you are. They have nothing to do with you. They're going to give you shit news for the first 100 stories every morning, because all they want to do is ruffle your feathers. They want people pissed off because it sells, right? We don't need to have that. We need to be we need to be getting along with each other. We need to be smiling. Dolly Parton says, if you see someone that isn't smiling, give them one of yours. Isn't that a great saying, right? Remember, you get to live where you're living. You get to have these children. You get to be healthy. You don't have to be, it doesn't have to be. It can be a get to be. Start using that word instead of have to. It'll change your life. It'll change your attitude at that minute for sure. I wrote down here, New Year's resolution. It's kind of a, what do you call it? What do you say? It's kind of a tradition, right? The New Year's coming. We're going to make a New Year's resolution. Fuck that. Make a New Year's resolution to start tomorrow. Make tomorrow New Year's Day, right? It's September 1st tomorrow. Make that the beginning. Make that the day you go out and walk 15 minutes, because don't watch that show tomorrow. Go walk 15 minutes. Take a bottle of water, fill it halfway up, and lift it over your head 15 times with each arm. Once you get stronger, once that bottle of water, fill the bottle of water up next time. Just do something. Do something, movement. Your body was not made to sit on your ass all day. Get up and move. Get up and move. Tomorrow's your New Year's resolution, September 1st. This podcast is going out in a couple hours, and you're going to hear it, this weekend, hopefully. And now you're going to be late already. Don't say, oh, I'll just wait till October. No, you're not. I'm not letting you off the hook. You need to start right now, right? Just start. Read a book. Find a book and read it. Read a page a day. I don't care. Do something to start furthering your life along and get to where you want to be, to get where your vision is, right? Come up with that vision. Doesn't have to be perfectly clear. You can tweak it as you go. Maybe you want a new, red Camry. Well, then maybe it turns to blue. Then maybe it turns to a different car. Maybe it turns to a Lexus. Maybe it turns to a Jeep. I don't know. Get a vision. What's your dream? Start dreaming a little bit more. Dream big too. Dream fucking big. Not enough little dreams. Oh, I just want to get to the next paycheck. Bullshit. You want to get to next year where you're making 3 times what you're making now. It's out there. Do not succumb to mediocrity. You were not born to be mediocre. You were not born to be mediocre. Say it again. You were not born to be mediocre. You were born to be special. 1 in 400 trillion chance you were even born. You have value in your life just by that. You're a value to the world, and you get to give that value to the world. So let's get off our ass and just start, man. Just get up and go. This is the edfranklin.nolimits podcast. You can reach me at edfranklin.nolimits@gmail.com if you want to be a guest, or you have a guest, or you have a topic you want me to listen to or talk about. And if you, when you see my posts on Facebook, Instagram, all those different places, if you have a topic you want me to talk about, let me know. If you want to talk about it with me, come on, we'll do it together, or I'll bring it up. So anyway, I appreciate you listening. Thanks for getting back. We're going to get kicking ass here and get going on a regular basis again. Like I said, after I choke, I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to change you. And you're here to change. That's what you need to have, that attitude. When you come to listen to my podcast, it's because you want to change. It's okay. You're not bad, but you can be better. Remember, what if? Ask yourself that all the time and you'll get to where you want to. Thanks again for listening. Ed Franklin, No Limits Podcast. We'll see you soon.